This is 60 Seconds of Science, brought to you by Pioneer. Continuing our discussion on nitrogen from our first podcast, Andy Heggenstaller, digital lead for Pioneer's granular software program, talked about losing nitrogen fertilizer through leaching. He says there is another way this valuable nutrient can be lost.
In fully saturated ponded soils where there's no oxygen available, it can go up into the atmosphere in a process called denitrification. Think about those ponded areas in a wet spring that have yellow corn that never really recovers. That's at least partially due to denitrification.
Best results on yield and return, according to University and Pioneer research, are to apply nitrogen fertilizer throughout the growing season as needed. But how can a farmer know if there is enough nitrogen in the root zone to meet the demands of a growing crop? Pioneer has developed software programs under the Encirca brand. Heggenstaller tells how a grower can be informed of a shortage.
The way I like to talk about it, Ken, is it's really a really fancy accounting system for nitrogen. And every day it updates. We feed weather data into the tool. A grower will indicate the specific field or fields that they are working with. And by doing that, we have access to the soil information there. And we've done some work over the years to develop improved, higher resolution soil maps and soil data that we feed into the tool, along with weather, along with management practices, including when was the crop planted, what hybrid was it, how much nitrogen fertilizer was applied prior to planting. And then essentially every day that system, it all happens up in the cloud, updates, and there's a really easy, intuitive interface that the farmer can work with, and it will give him estimates that, depending on weather, can change every day in terms of how much nitrogen is in the field relative to the amount that you're likely to need to produce the yield that you're targeting on this specific piece of ground. It'll sort of be color-coded and tell you red, you're in danger. Here's how much we think you're in danger by. Yellow, we think you're right in that sweet spot. And green, we think that there's probably more nitrogen out there today than what you're going to need. And then every day, you can consult that.
And what is the cost for the granular service?
That is pretty inexpensive. That starts in the neighborhood of about $1 per acre and can go down from there depending on the number of acres that you're enrolling. It could literally be $20, $30 per acre return.
We have 3 podcasts on nitrogen on this website. This has been 60 Seconds of Science, brought to you by Pioneer.